Mr. President, as I speak, wildfires are blazing across Montana. In fact, as of this moment, we have 21 active fires with just about 300,000 acres burned that has turned our big sky into gray smoke. In fact, the Lodgepole fire in eastern Montana, that fire alone has burned over 250,000 acres, and there are 300 plus heroes bravely working to tame those growing flames. I was on the phone this weekend a couple of times with our county commissioners from Garfield County as we were talking about how we can get more resources on these devastating fires. I just got word an hour ago that the Sunrise Fire on the western side of our state near Superior, Montana, was just elevated in the last couple hours as the #2 national priority fire in the nation. Montana is hot, Montana is dry, and there's a long ways to go yet in this fire season. The status quo is simply unacceptable. With these fires blazing, the ground cracking beneath us, we are reminded how fragile the way of life in Montana is. Our #1 economic driver in Montana is agriculture. Montana Ag has supported our economy through seasons of plenty as well as in seasons of drought, including physical drought and unseasonable rains. We've seen both in Montana. Our farmers and ranchers have risen to the occasion each time. And as they have supported us, we must support them. The historic drought conditions in eastern Montana warrant relief from regulations that limit the producer's ability to use our lands in the best way possible. I can tell you I was pleased by Secretary Perdue and the USDA's decision to allow impacted producers to best use the Conservation Reserve Program acreage for grazing. But I believe Montana producers are unable to sleep at night for fear of losing the family farm. They deserve more support from those who have benefited from their legacy of hard work. I have and will continue to hold the USDA's feet to the fire, urging additional emergency relief for farmers and ranchers. I've been engaging with Montana farmers and ranchers, most recently with local elected officials on the phone literally last night from Garfield County, talking with folks on the ground, what the lack of rain has meant for them. I understand the severity of the drought and the risk of wildfires. Let me tell you something, wildfires are all too common for those of us who live in Montana. Hundreds of fires burn through Montana's forests every year, with countless firefighters fighting to protect lives and property. And year after year, I will come down here, you'll hear me speak on the floor, you'll hear me in our committees, you'll hear me back home, talking about the fact that these fires are ready to ignite at any moment. And you can see that these unmanaged forests that we have in Montana are literally just waiting for a massive wildfire. With nearly 300,000 acres burned, and we aren't even to August yet, it's still July, it's a big deal for a state known for our wide open landscapes. We need forest management reform urgently. It's a topic that's always on the forefront of my mind, on the forefront of Montanans, for those of us out west, but on the back burner of the swamp here in Washington, D.C. Until, of course, we get to fire season, and then folks will talk about it some. We must reform the way we manage our national forests so we can use proven tactics to reduce the threat of wildfires, as well as reduce the rate of spread and intensity of those fires when they occur. We need a wildfire funding fix because we can't just keep hoping that Congress will pay back the Forest Service at the end of every season. It's not the way of family budgets, and the Forest Service shouldn't have to either. We have nearly 5 million acres of national forests in Montana that have been identified as critical need of restoration. We're talking about dying and dead timber because of beetle kill primarily, and we can't even get in and manage the timber because we have these far left groups that will challenge many of our timber sales in court. I've joined Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota in sponsoring legislation to encourage partnerships between the Forest Service and the state foresters to carry out these cross-boundary restoration projects. You know, a fire does not respect boundaries. They don't know where the state land ends or the federal land begins or where private land is, where reservation lands are. We need to be able to work as better neighbors on the fence line to reduce fuels, reduce the wildfire hazards across the country. These partnerships and projects will make fighting these wildfires safer for our firefighters and allow them to return home safer to their families. Our firefighters, and particularly this time of year, we recognize them as some of the bravest men and women out there. The courage with which they run towards danger. I tell you, if you've never seen a wildfire burning out west, it is an incredible sight. It's terrifying to see these huge plumes that will reach up to over 30,000 feet in the atmosphere. They're ominous. These brave men and women run towards danger to protect our lives, to protect our homes. It's awe-inspiring. And let me close by recognizing a young man that lost his life in Montana just this past week. His name was Trenton Johnson. Trenton Johnson was such a man, one of these brave heroes. It is with a heavy heart that I offer prayers of strength and peace to the family and friends of Trenton Johnson, who died fighting a fire just last Wednesday near Seeley Lake, Montana, in the northwest corner of our state. Trenton will be remembered for his bravery, and I pray that his family and friends find solace and encouragement in the memories of his vibrant but way too short life. He was just 19 years old. As we pray for rain in Montana, we also pray for the safety of all of our firefighters, for their protection, who are still battling blazes as we speak here this very moment, all across our state and across the western United States. Thank you, Mr. President.